Oh, so excited. We are joined right now at the Blizz couch by a man who would get my vote for the favorite person in the world. Lead designer for Diablo 3, Kevin Martens. Thank you so much for coming by, Kevin.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
And congratulations on all the announcements.
Thank you. Yeah, we were sitting in the Overwatch arena right behind us for opening ceremonies. We could hear the applause about the Necromancer from Main Hall. That
That's
was awesome.
amazing. I know, we could hear it out here. We were so excited.
Yeah.
I mean, the Necromancer, bringing that back. How do you feel?
I'm really excited. I mean, the Necromancer is the coolest class. Let's just admit that. On a purely high school level, he's the cool kid.
Yeah.
He's not the angry goth. He's the awesome goth in the corner. Everyone wants to be his friend. He's in a band on the weekends. You know, he's cool, right?
I love that.
Well, look at some of the characters. Like, I love when they walk through the sort of art of it, right? Like how are we going to differentiate this character from some of the other characters that are, you know, a little more lighthearted? And it was like, this guy, you're going to want to hang out with this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you might murder some people, but you're going to want to be there when it happens because it sounds
right,
awesome.
that's sort of like the King
does.
of the Dead armor set, right? Almost that Mayan and Egyptian Book of the Dead feel. That was my favorite. I know everyone likes the blood set, but I'm going to go with the reanimation set.
Actually, the bone set with the mouths eating your shoulders. Come on. So, how long have you been working on Diablo? I mean, it's 20th
since
anniversary.
2009. So, all the way through Diablo 3 and all the patches and Reaper and all that. So, it's going to be a huge year for 2017.
7
so
years.
Many things. Yeah. Later today on our next panel, we're announcing a massive laundry list of additional stuff. Not as big as the Necromancer and the anniversary event, but a lot of new things still coming in this BlizzCon.
See, I love that you guys are doing all these great sort of community updates, right? Like last year there were a lot of comfort updates, although also like the set dungeons and stuff like that. So it seems like you guys are pumping out content after content after content. What about the new starting areas? Or not starting areas, the new zones.
The new zones, right. So the Shrouded Moor is like this wind-set place of twisted trees. A bunch of civilizations have tried to make a foothold there. They've all been destroyed because there's nasty stuff underneath the Shrouded Moors, and that is the Temple of the Firstborn. This is one of the oldest areas in all of Sanctuary. When the angels and demons first got together, left the eternal conflict, and created this world called Sanctuary, and started raising their children, the first Nephilim, this is one of the first areas that they lived.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, and it's really demonic. It's black and white. We're going to show a lot of that, including some video of it later today. In fact, if you play the Necromancer on the floor, if you get to the end, if you manage to find the portal, you get a sneak peek at Temple of the Firstborn.
Oh, so that's where that was.
Yeah. We missed that.
Well,
we're going to have to go back.
I know, I'm going to have to get my hands on it again.
Well, talk to us a little bit about this glorious retrovision, because we're hearing about it. It's the 20th anniversary, obviously, of Diablo. So talk to us a little bit about the retrovision process and how you guys went through recreating this in the game.
All right, here's my favorite story about it. So we had the pixelated filters. We took out a bunch of the animations so that he walks like stilted, like the 90s games.
Yeah.
That was cool. When we went to recreate the audio, we were going for that late 1996 sound, and our technical director stopped us and said, hold on. Diablo 1 was really advanced for its day. You need to recreate late 1997 sound. Right, so it's a different type of tinny.
Interesting.
So in that case, we took out a bunch of the sounds so that sounds repeat more often. Like that's a classic thing from 90s games. They just didn't have room on the disc for that much, right?
Sloop.
Right, so you hear the same sounds more often. It's those little things, and like we did not need to do that, but the team loved this process so much. This really grew from the original idea and became a recreation of Diablo 1.
Yeah, so how long ago was it when the idea of, I mean, look, Necromancer, obviously, I'm sure when you guys were creating Diablo 3, it was banding around.
Absolutely.
But when did it start to really kind of solidify into, because we got Crusader first, you know what I mean? So when did it start to kind of come in?
Just earlier this year. So it's like we react to what the game needs, what fans are talking about, what we're noticing. Like, we're going to do an overhaul of Greater Rifts that we're going to explain at the panel later today, because that's what the game needs right now.
Yeah.
But it started to feel like we were in a nostalgic mood because 20th anniversary is coming up, and we were developing the dungeon, well, scope creeping the dungeon, so it got crazy big. And it felt like it's not just time for a new class, it's probably time for a nostalgic class. Necromancer is like the clear leader for that. So it was just earlier this year that we started working on him, and we've really rushed hard to get something playable at BlizzCon rather than having to wait till next year.
With all these giant anniversaries that are this year, and Diablo having the 20th, the 10th with BlizzCon, the 25th with Blizzard in general, with all of the nostalgia going on, what's it like for your team specifically on Diablo to be experiencing 20 years?
we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. So, I mean, I get to sit up here and represent this team. They are fantastic people. They love the community. They're members of it. They play the game. To be able to represent them is just, it's an absolute privilege. They worked so hard on this 20th anniversary. Like, I don't know if you guys were playing games back in 1996.
Oh, yeah, we were.
I remember that RPGs were dead. PC games were dead. Consoles were where it's at, right?
Yep.
That's the Nintendo 64 came out that year.
Yeah,
and
GoldenEye, everybody was playing that.
People would frequently say that, and it was never true. And RPGs at the time were often turn-based. So here comes Diablo with a multiplayer game, an action game, and an RPG game, and it's just been growing ever since, right? Like, it's been, so that is the granddaddy of this whole current generation of games. We feel an enormous responsibility to honor it properly.
I mean, 20 years
and to
is a
make
big
it
deal.
fun, and to make it feel like Diablo 3 still, because it's all in the Diablo 3
Even with
engine.
all the esports going on, there is everybody who's played the esports has played Diablo.
Yeah.
It's important to everybody on a very deep level.
It was our first BattleNet game, right?
Yeah,
Like
that's
the
right.
multiplayer part, we take that for granted now. In 1996, that was really hard to do, and Blizzard did it, and I think it's influenced all of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I said this before, but in '96 I had Ethernet in my dorm room, and it was one of the games that I was like, yes, more multiplayer games, please.
I'm kind of jealous.
you
Talk about this dorm room. Where was this? Why wasn't I there?
Yeah, I know, right? I was like, that's advanced.
At a modem.
Yeah, well, first off, and anybody, I was like, literally, they were like, you have to get this thing called a PCI Ethernet card, and I was like, what does it do?
Yeah.
And they're like, it's sort of like a modem, and I was like, all right, I guess I'll get one. And then I was like, this is glorious. But speaking of retro, we have a social question. At Morton's asks, will trading ever return? It's one of the things that made D2 great.
Right, so he's probably referring to trading at a grand level where there's trade chat and things like that. You can, of course, trade with anybody in your game at that time, and you can trade anything other than gems, some crafting materials, and legendary items as it stands right now. Our goal is to make it so that everybody has so much loot that they don't really miss the trading, and it's for the, you basically have to pick your battles here. What is the most fun way to get loot? What's the most memorable? And it's when you take the item from the cold, dead claws of that monster. And we have to do that. And trading is fun for a little bit. When you get something, you complete your set, that's awesome. That's a good feeling. Yeah. But that feeling doesn't last as long as that of getting it from the monster yourself. So when we did take out trading and remove the auction house, we responded with Loot 2.0. And we've been building on that ever since and giving you more and more ways to maximize your items. Whether it's like the Mystic, who lets you fix items that aren't quite there, etc. Ancient items, that sort of thing.
Well, Kevin, thank you so much for stopping by the Blizz Couch to talk to us about Diablo. I know that Alex is already freaking out for the 20th anniversary dungeon. And personally, I can't wait to jump into Overwatch and play as Sombra. How amazing was that cinematic yesterday? Perfect. Boop. And you know what? We've been waiting long enough for it again. So let's take another look.